This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, a very quick recap of what we did yesterday. Yesterday, we have seen how to go ahead and create a lightning card. We have seen that lightning card is divided into three areas called as header, body, footer. Again, the header area is divided into another two more parts called as title and actions, right? Title and actions. Title and actions. We have seen that we use AuraSet. AuraSet. Whenever you want to customize the default structure of a card, we use AuraSet. Using an AuraSet, we have customized yesterday. There is nothing on the screen, guys, by the way. With use of AuraSet, we have customized yesterday the button location. If you remember that yesterday's class, AuraSet, right, attribute equals to actions. And within that AuraSet, I'm placing the buttons. I'm very happy that most of you have sent me the homework, right? People who did the homeworks, right? That's really great. You guys are doing the homework, so right, most of you have sent the homework. So I was checking those homeworks and everything. It looks all good, right? I have replied to people also, those who have did the homeworks and everything, right? You can see that this is one of the homework that was sent, right? I have asked to create an lead based homework, to create a lead, right? Lead top card, the card which you see on the lead. I asked them to create. Most of you, few of you has sent me those cards, right? So that's really good. With a program ANSI, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and this is the card that was created, a lead card, right? Please do your homeworks. Once again, I'm just repeating everyone, right? Please do your homeworks, right? I will give you where
Which
to
email
send
ID
those
it was
homeworks.
forwarded?
Sorry?
To which email ID? We don't have your email ID.
Yeah, I'll give you that email ID also, okay? From which email ID you have to send the homeworks and everything, right? So please do your homeworks, send it to me, right? So that even I will have a track that yes, you guys are able to do and things are going forward. Now let me log in, rupam@lt95.com, password CRM1234#.
I think 96.
Oh, sorry, my mistake. That's correct. It's a 96 batch, not the 95. L96 password CR. Okay. 96 password CRM1234#. Right? To do the development, right? We have chosen Developer Console as our development tool as of now. We can also do the development through a VS Code, Microsoft Visual Studio Code, which I'll be going through. Currently, let me start with, right? We doing development from where? From the Developer Console. I click on Setup. I click on Developer Console. This is the place from where we have been doing the programming. Yesterday, we created two examples, right? We created a lightning card, right? And in the card, right, we have inserted those lightning buttons. If you remember that, right, somebody by the end of the class asked that, Rupam, already we created this whole lightning button menu group. Why I'm rewriting again, right? The major aspect of lightning is reusability of a component. This piece, you can see that we have already written yesterday. So why I am writing? It's a valid question, right? This was a part of your what, right? Let me see. This was your part of your example 1 button 2. Yesterday we have created example 1 button 2, right? If you want to see file, open lightning resource, right? 1305, where is that? Example 1 button 2. Click on open, right? Click on component. Close the description. We have, right? Okay. Example 1. Okay. Example 1 button 2, right? So you have created these buttons yesterday. We have already created it, right? So anyhow, I've closed it. So whenever you want, right, example 1, button 2, if you want to display, I've again opened the example 1 only. In the example 1, right, we can go ahead and we can call the other components. We can go ahead and we can call another component, right? How to call another component? With a C. With a C and the name. If you put C colon, the way you call in the Lightning app, how do you call in the Lightning? C with a colon and the component name and the component name. Same way in the component also you can call another component. I created a component, right? I created a component, right? So I created a component. In that, I want to call, right, some other component. You can do that. You can call the same component inside that component again, right? One component, you can call it inside another component, right? For example, I'm removing it. Let's take this example, right? So example 1, button 2, saving it. Example 1, button 2. I go to my lightning cart component, right? I go ahead and I disable this for the moment. I'm disabling this menu. I'm disabling this menu, right? I'm disabling this menu. Whole button menu is now being displayed, right? Whole button menu is now, right? We have just commented it out, ignored. In this, I want to call the example 1. In the example 1, I will get these 3 buttons plus this, plus this, plus 1 button stateful. So how many buttons I will get? 1, 2, 3. Then 1 button menu 4. Then 1 button 5. Total 5 buttons are part of what? LC 1305 example 1. Now let us go ahead and call this, right? 1305 example 1. 1305 example 1. I'm going to the card. You can see that example 2 card. There I can go ahead, I can call C colon. You need not to write this whole program again because we have already written this. It's a called reusability of a component. I'm calling one component inside another component. You can see that I'm in example 2. In the example 2, I'm calling example 1. 1305, yesterday's class, 2 examples I've shown you. One with a button, one with a card. Now inside the card, I'm calling a button, which is another program. It's another component. Control S, save. When I go to the app, right, I'm calling example 2 card. I click on preview. System calls those buttons also. See that? These are the additional buttons. See? Stateful, if you observe. Menu. See, this is the menu that we created. Question mark. Setup icon, settings, notification icon. So this. Along with these buttons, right, I also got the other buttons. You need not to write the program again and again. It is called as reusability, right? I can, wherever I want a button, I can create a set of buttons and I can leave it. Wherever I want a button, I can call like this. You can put this whole button, for example, right? If you go to your Salesforce, most of the structure is repetitive. Most of your structures are repetitive. For example, right? Most of the button sets are repetitive. You go to sales, right? You go to accounts. Everywhere you will see that the structures are repeating. I go to account, right? I go to account. You first see that new and import, contacts, new and import, new and import, new and import, right? See, leads, new and import. In addition to that, you are getting add to campaign, one addition button, but 2 buttons, new and import, is everywhere. Good opportunity, only new. So there are certain buttons which are repeating again. There are certain buttons which are repeating again. You can create one component wherever you want. in this 10 locations, 10 different cards, you can call that particular component. Reusability. Everybody is able to understand what is the reusability stands for, right? One of the example of component reusability, right? We are not writing the whole lightning button menu button again. We have already written inside this component called as example, right? Example 1, button 2, right? If you want, I can call the first class button also, the button which we have written in the first class, right? Button 1, right? It will be 1205 on the 12th class. I have written a button. Simple, normal, standard buttons. You can call them, right? This is called as reusability. You can call n number of component inside another component. Same component can I call twice? Answer is yes. If you want the same button to be appeared again. I want in the top, I want in the header, I want in the footer. Can I call the same component? Answer is yes, you can. Can I call it anywhere? Yes, you can, right? We will see this. Now, let's go ahead and learn a new thing today. Today, we are going to learn how to handle data. We will start with, right? We will start with primitive data. We will start with primitive data. We will start with primitive data. And then what we'll do? We will go ahead and we will see, right, how to go ahead and, right, do some basic calculations. Let's start the class. Lightning, I'm going to new lightning component. I give today's date 1405 LC lightning component underscore 1405, right, underscore EG1 example 1 underscore, right, I will say attribute. I copy the name because I need this name component name. I click on submit. System creates a component. System creates a component. System creates a component. Close the description. We need the component. The first thing that we are going to learn today is called Aura attribute. Aura attribute. Whenever you want to hold a data, it's a container. Whenever you want to hold any data in Lightning, we use Aura attribute. Rupam, it's a data, it's a name. I want to hold it. If you want to hold the Rupam in the Lightning page, you need to have Aura attribute. Aura attributes are the container to hold data. It can hold array data. It can hold collection of data. It can hold in the collection. It can hold list. It can hold set. It can hold array. It can hold any type of data. Aura attribute. Those who are taking notes, please take a note. Aura attribute. Aura attribute. To hold data in Lightning page. To hold data in Lightning page. I will say name, right? Name equals to EMPNAME, name. No space, no space. Name equals to EMP name. What type of data it has to hold? What type of data? These two are compulsory. Name and type. What type of data I want to hold? I want to hold string data type. String. I want to hold string data. Attribute name. Once again, I'm typing one more. Aura, right? ATTRIBUT. Aura attribute. Name equals to what? Equals to age, right? Type equals to integer. Type equals to integer, right? Type equals to integer. Next, Aura attribute. Name equals to salary, right? Type equals to decimal. Type equals to decimal. say that. Aura attribute. Aura attribute is to hold data. Aura attribute is to hold data. Always declare aura attribute in the starting of the component. Aura attributes cannot be declared inside a lightning card or anywhere. You'll get an error. These are something called initialization, right? Always the aura attribute has to be declared first. Those who are taking notes, point number 1, aura attribute to be declared at the beginning of the component. Aura attributes used to be declared at the beginning of the component. In the starting of the component, you would be, right, declaring the aura attribute. Now I will use lightning card. Yesterday we used lightning card, right? Whatever we used in the 2 classes, let us put that all here. Lightning card starts. I will say title. Everybody should be comfortable by now. Lightning card title equals to employee information. Title equals to employee information. Now inside this, I will say employee name. Employee name. I'll copy this, right? Employee age, employee salary, right? Now I want to display whatever the data is holding, whatever the data that has been passed or it is inside the container called EMP name, I want to display here in the card. Whenever you want to display, we use exclamation V dot. V is a reserved keyword. V, C, E. There are 3 reserved keywords in Lightning. V is for all attributes. Every attribute you will put like this. V, exclamation V. Write down the next point. V is a reserved attribute. V is a reserved keyword to display an attribute. Reserved, copyright, right? Nobody can change it to C, it will not work. It's a V. In Lightning, whenever you want to display an attribute, we use exclamation V. V dot, V dot, we use V dot. V stands for attributes. V stand for attribute. Next point, right? V, reserved keyword to display attribute. V, small v, reserved keyword to display attribute. Reserved keyword to display attribute. Reserved keyword to display attribute. Right? Similarly, here. Right? All your attributes, your functions has to be within the curly bracket. V dot. What is that? Age. Age. Next, V. What is that? Exclamation. V dot salary. But where is the data? The question raises is that where is the data, Rupam? Wait, we'll talk about it. Right? Now, I will give a paragraph or a break tag. I will give a break tag. Break tag. After each one of them, the line has to break. Right? Then in the card, right? Card. What I can do, I can define an aura set. A-U-R-A, aura, S-E-T, aura set. What is this aura set? Aura set is used to change the default structure of a card. I will say attribute equals to what? Action. Attribute equals to what? Actions. Here, right, I will put a button. Lightning button. Label equals to, everybody knows this. Label equals to subject. Till here it's all good. Today, we will also start writing controllers. Controllers here on the bundle. We have been, till yesterday, we have been doing only component. Now today onwards, we will start writing component plus controller. Whenever you click on this button, whenever you click on this button, I want system to call an action. Whenever you click this button, I will say on click, on click, on click, what? Right? On click, exclamation C. C is reserved keyword for all components, all functions. All components, all custom components, all custom function. C is a reserved keyword. The way for all attribute, V is a reserved keyword. For all attribute holders, V is a reserved keyword. Similarly, for all components and functions, C is a reserved keyword. Dot. Call me. Right? That's it. So whenever you click this button, system has to call a function called as call me. Control S. Let us first see the output, whether our structure is working good or not. New lightning application. I will say that LA 1405 example 1. Submit. I go ahead and close the description. I just click or keeps, right? I'll keep only the application. I copy the component name which I just created, C colon. That's what we create. 1405 example 1. You have to call the design library extends, right, equals to force SLDS, control S. Now I click on preview. System is loading. You can see that here is the submit button, employee information. Here is the card, employee name blank, employee age blank, employee salary blank. It is all blank, right? It is all blank. There is no data in that, right? We have just put it all blank, right? Now, I want to pass some data to this. As soon as you click on the button, I want data to be populated. At this moment, what I will do, I will hard code the data, but we will see slowly, right, how to get the data from the database. So everybody good with the structure? I declared 3 attributes. In the card, I'm displaying those attributes. AuraAttribute, unless until you call them with V, it will not be visible. On the page, if I don't use this V dot, then the values held by employee name, age, salary will not be displayed. I have a card displaying the attribute. I have a button, right? Whenever you click on the button, call me. Copy this call me. Keep observing. I go to the controller now. You know that extension is JS. It will be name controller.js. System will add a keyword called as controller behind the name. After the attribute, right? 1405 example 1 attribute. This is our name. On that, system is adding a keyword called as controller. Fine. Now, in the place of my action, right, I will delete this my action and I will put call me, right? Call me, right? Now, whenever you click the button, system will call me. I'm writing the script in the controller of the component. How? Like this. It was showing my action. I've replaced with the name called as call me. I will have one more button. I'm copying 2 buttons I'm writing. Remember this, control C. One more button, clear. Then clear me, one more function. 2 buttons are there, submit and clear, right? Now, whenever you have to copy this, Control C. With a comma, paste it again. Same structure, right? Replace the name, clear me. The second function is clear me. Call me, clear me. Two functions are there. Call me, clear me. Call me, clear me. Right? Same name has to match. Whatever on click, call me, clear me. This is how we get it. Right? What do you want? For now, we'll start with a simple. As soon as you click on the button, an alert message has to come. ALERT, 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 alert. What alert you want? Hi, this is my first button, invocation. Hi, this is my first button invocation. Control S, right? Remember that we have written only in call me. Our clear me is still blank. There is nothing inside it, right? Control S, right? Go to the app, click on update preview. System is loading. As soon as I click on submit, I get an alert. Hi, this is my first button invocation. That means whenever you click this button, immediately that call me controller, the function call me in the component controller is getting triggered. Whenever you click on this button, a function called as call me in the component controller is getting fired, is getting triggered off. You can see that. Okay, this is exactly what we want. Whenever you click on this button, immediately system should go and call a function called call me. Where is that function? The function is in the controller, components controller. This is whole one component bundle. For this particular component, this is the controller, right? If somebody is getting doubt, Rupam, can I call a controller from another component? Answer is yes. We will see later. Answer is yes. I have example 2. From an example 2, can I call example 1 controller function? Answer is yes. How to do this? We'll see going forward in the classes. For now, from the same component controller we are calling. Now, okay, I want. Now, how to get the value from the page, right? How to get and set. First, let us see how to pass a value from a component controller to the component, right? I'll not use component controller, I'll use controller keyword. So you have to understand that I'm talking within the component, I'm talking about the controller. How to pass a data from a controller to a component, to pass the value. How to pass it? We use component dot set. See, I'm using COMPO. Component dot set. You use a command called as component dot set. Here you have to give the component name. Which component? V dot. Within the controller, we don't use exclamation. Remember that. V dot. What is that? Attribute. Employee name. V dot employee name. Comma. Set it to what? Set it to Rupam. Component dot set. To pass a value from a controller to a component, we use component dot set. Component. What value you want to set? Always here we refer with V. V dot. We don't say exclamation V, right? V dot age. Right? V dot age, right? V dot age. all numbers, right? All numbers, we do what? We use what? We don't use quotes. Only for string data type, we use double quotes. Only for string data type, we use double quotes, right? Next, again, one more is there. COMPON. Component dot set. Set what? Component dot set. Set what? Salary. Set salary. I will say v dot salary, right? V dot salary. How much? 10,000. I said decimal. 10,000.25. So you see that? This is what we have written in call me. This is how we have written in call me. First, show the alert box. Then set the value of the attributes to these. Set the value of attribute to these. Control S.
Rupam,
Right? Yes.
you have
We
missed
have
the
to
V dot
mention
salary.
Sorry?
V dot salary we have to mention, right? Yes.
Right. V dot salary. Yes, that's correct. All the field has to be referred with V dot salary. We don't use exclamation. Exclamation is used only in the component. In the controller, no exclamation. Remember this very well. In the controller, no exclamation. Only V dot. V stand for attribute. Controllers. Now you go ahead and see the preview. I'm reloading the page again. As soon as I click on submit, the first thing that will come is, hi, this is my first button invocation. Okay, you see that? Employee name, Rupam Chakravarti, age 35, salary 10,000.25. How we are placing the data. How we are placing the data. How we are placing the data. Component.set. 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 Right? We use component.set to what? To pass the data from a controller to a component. 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 Everybody understood? Similarly, clear. In the clear also, I have to write something. What is that? Right? What is that? Clear. I will copy the same thing. Component.set. I have to clear this. I will say blank. Set to blank. Set to blank. Component.clear. Component, right? Dot set. Clear me. Control S. Control S. Same. Here I'm setting with the data. Here I'm setting with the blank. Right? Now I go ahead and refresh my the page, the app. Right? I click on submit. It gives you a pop-up box. Click OK. It displays the data. Click clear. Everything is gone. Click clear. We have just clicked clear button. Everything is gone. In this button, now you can put what? Icon, whatever you have learned till today. Right? You can place icon. You can say variant equals to destructive. You can say variant equals to, then this clear button will be in red color. Variant equals to success, then the submit button will be in green color. Variant equals to, in my programming, I can go ahead and I can use in this button, variant equals to, I can bring one more property, variant. Variant equals to, right? All this we have learned, so you can do this, right? I definitely don't want to once again go into that, but you can, if you want, you can, whatever the things that you have learned, you can do this. Perfect, Rupam. This is we are hard coding. Let's talk about how to input a data, how to have an input box. So what are the things that we have learned today? The first thing that we have learned is AuraAttribute, and then we have seen how to write a component controller. how to write a component controller. How to write a component controller. How to write a component controller, right? We have seen that. How to write a component controller, right? Component controller. Now, right? Component controller, okay? So, everyone clear what exactly we are talking about? Yes or no? Yes, understood, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Any question? Any question? Anybody has any questions?
Rupam, there is no limit on number of components to be called from another component, right?
Right, there is no limit. Absolutely, you can do anything, n number of things you can do here. That's what the advantage of it, right? Okay, that's good. Anybody has any other questions before I proceed to the next one, the input one?
Rupam, I
Sir,
have a doubt here.
Yes, tell me.
What does it mean after the function component event and help?
Right, that means this function can be called within the component. This can be used for an event. This JavaScript can be extended to helper. That means within the component, clear me can be called here inside. The way I can call the clear me inside call me. I can call me inside clear me, right? Within the component, I have this. It is defining where we can use it, right? Where it's these are like a method variable, your function variables. We can use them within a component, right? If so, within the component there are two functions now. That means these functions can be called inside another function. Similarly, when we come to the event, you will understand that this particular function can call an event. If you don't include event, right, then the function cannot be called. I can remove it for now. Anyhow, I don't need it, so I can say control S, no issues at all. It'll work. I don't need a helper at this moment, so you can remove it. Yes, this function is valid for the component. Keep the component, because within the component we are writing where this can be accessible. Every component, right? Because component is accessing the controller. Component is accessing the controller. That's what it's defining. Component. No issues. It'll work. I've removed the event and helper at this moment because I'm not using any event. I'm not using any helper. The button will work. No issues at all. Clear now? Yes. Any questions before I move to the next topic?
Rupam, just one
Sir.
question.
Yes.
We have 60,000 characters limit for writing the code usually, right? So do we have the similar restriction applied to this, or do we have some more leeway on writing the code in Lightning?
See, I mean, we have, as per the documentation, there is no code limit defined, right? There's a 50,000, right, limits that has been defined, but it works more than that. Even if you see that your license says that in a developer console, you have a 25 MB, 20 MB as a space, storage space. But you can see that if you can upload even 25 MB also, it goes. See, you will never land up in creating a 50,000 line in a component, right? Will you? In single component, will you write a 50,000 lines? I've never written a 50,000 line in a single component.
Right.
So, right. So that limit is too much limit. So we need not to worry about that limit because we will never come there. 50,000 in one component. No, hardly this will be 500, 600, up to 1,000 or 1,200 will be the maximum line that you'll be writing in a component. 1,200 to 1,500 maximum. I have written a component where I have 4,800 lines. That was the maximum, biggest component I have ever written by me, right? 4,800 lines, 800 and some change lines I have written, right? So 50,000 is far limit. So there's nothing to worry about it, right? Any questions before
So
we
will
proceed?
the application controller and component controller work same?
Yes, it's all works same. It's all works
Okay.
same. Question is then what is the use of application controller? Whenever I have multiple components, now one application, I'm calling only one component. I'm an application, guys, LA. Always observe whenever I click observe the LA or LA or Aura application, I'm calling only one component inside. Suppose I have multiple components, some 20 components I'm calling. I want to show one component based on some, I want to disable, enable, show, change the location, right? Pass certain value to that based on the other component reaction. One component act, I want other component to react. Where I can do those logics in the application controller, we'll come there. Now, currently application, we are using it only to display, but that is not the purpose. Application, right, controls the application controls the component. So we will talk about it when we come to the application part, right? It works in the similar manner. Any question? Yes, no, yes, no. Yes, no. Tell me,
Okay.
any questions, guys? Okay, that's good. Now, let's get into another effective class. I'm closing it. I'm writing the second example. File, new, lightning component. I will say LC. Example 2, input attributes. I copy the name, I click on submit. Input attributes, right? I go ahead and I copy the name here. I right there we go. Input attributes. Aura component. Whenever you want to input something, we use a command called as lightning input. LIGHT lightning. INPUT input. Label equals to what? Right? EMPLOY, employee name. This is called as lightning input. Lightning input name. Lightning input employee name. Whenever you don't define the type, by default it became text. By default it became text. By default it became text, right? By default. Aura component. Now, once again, lightning input. Lightning input. Label equals to, right? Let me say employee last name. Label equals to employee first name. Label equals to employee first name. Type, what type of data this box will hold? Text. We don't use string. Text. Input doesn't take string, it takes text. Text. If you don't declare in the line number 2, I didn't declare the type, by default it will go to text. Next, I copy this. Lightning input. Lightning input. What is this? Employee date of birth. Employee date of birth. We will write long, so I'm just writing DOB. What type of it? It's a date field. It's a date field. Type equals to date. Control C. Control V. Lightning label, right? Employee. What is that? I will say date of birth, time. What time he was born? I will take the data type as time. Next, employee email. Employee email. Employee email. What if data it is? Email. See, actually, type is just formatting the data, guys. Wait, once we see the output, then you'll be able to understand. Next, employee what? Phone. What type of data it is? It's a phone data. Phone data type. Next, copy, right? There's a long list, guys. Long list is there, right? Employee favorite color. What type of data it is? color, color. See, type is color, right? Type is color. Next, right? Employee password. Just creating some inputs. Employee password. Password. Type is what? Password. I will say required equals to true. That means mandate. Without filling this field, he can't, he can't save the data bar, or this is a mandate field, right? Any action, this field has to be mandate. Control S, file, new, lightning application. LA, submit. I will say extend. Extends to what? To force SLDS. To force SLDS. And I will go ahead and copy. You can call n number of component inside an application. But now we are just calling one to one. One application, one component. Control S. Click on preview. Now you see how I'm getting it. Right? Name, text, date of birth. You can see that whenever I click on it, system give me a calendar automatically. It's taking the formatting. Date, time. See, it's giving you a time here automatically. There's a clock, right? Next, email. RUPM right? RUPM@sftc80 right? First name Rupam, RUPOM. That was the last name. Last name CHAKRABORTY. First name RUPOM, Rupam. Date of birth, right? 17. That's done. Selected. Time 12:30. Employee phone number 777777. Employee favorite color. So that automatically this is a formatting. What color you want, right? Oh, red, blue, something. Click on done. This is the favorite color. Employee password. And there's a star mark. If you observe the screen, I'm zooming it so that you can see. There is a star there. There is a star there because you set required equals to true. See, because you set required equals to true. Because you set required equals to true. These are the most commonly used field types. Text, date, time, email, phone, password, right? Right. These are the most frequently used. These are the most frequently used data types. Rupam, why the name is coming below? Why not in the site? The default structure of Salesforce is site. It's below always. You go and open account, contact, wherever you go. So that is always below. Name, Mr. Betra Boxer. Company, Farmer Coop of Florida. Where is the data? Below. It's not in front of it. Default lightning structure is data to be below. You go to accounts, wherever you go. I click on all accounts. I'm going to the default structure first. I open this Burlington. I click on details. Always the data will be below. Label will be on the top. Data will be below. You see that? Rating, data is below. Phone, data is below. Facts, data is below. Below the label. The same structure even we have it. Rupam, I want to change it. We'll talk about it, how to do that. As of now, all these structures are default structures we are talking about. Where, Rupam, why this is whole long coming up? Right? I want to minimize this. We will see. We will talk about it. Layout, tomorrow's class. Probably I'll start. right? So fine, data. Now with this data, I want to play. With this data, I want to play, right? Input attribute. Got it? How to do input attributes? Yes, input attribute. I can also put something called as default. Default equals to, right? Default equals, I can put something called as default there, right? Default. I can put something called as default, right? Default. Default equals to what? I will say default equals to, right? Ravi. As the page load, it will load with the default last employee. Now last name will be loaded as Ravi. Control S, default. I'm going and refreshing my data again. The page loads with default data is not coming up, right? Default, right? The page should load with the default data. Default, Ravi. We'll do it. Wait, it'll come. Default, Ravi. Default, Ravi. Default, Ravi. You can use some default data, right? Default, right? Actually, in the input, it will not take a default. Default will take, right? Where is the holder? These are just label. Whatever the data that you're typing, who is holding it? Nobody is holding it. Whatever the data that I'm typing, Rupam, or let's say that input are not the holders. Remember that input are not the holders. They are just a structure to enter the data. Whatever the data you enter, it has to be hold. Whatever the data that I enter has to be hold. Whatever the data that I enter has to be hold. Now, what is mean by that? What do you mean by that? Right? That means if I have a holder defined, who holds the data? Attributes hold the data. Who holds the data? Attribute holds the data. So always the first thing, aura attribute. Name of the attribute. Name equals to EMP LST name. Type. Type equals to what? Type equals to, let's say that text. Type equals to, here we say what? Right? String. Type equals to string. Type equals to string. This is the holder I told you. This is the holder I told you. Right? Now, whatever the data that you enter in the last name has to go to this holder. Employee last name. Value equals to. Value equals to. Connect this. Exclamation V dot employee last name. Whatever the text that you're entering will be holded in this attribute. Attribute are the holders. Attribute are the holders. I will create one more, right? Attribute employee first name, F name, right? I will say type, then I don't need this type because already I'm declaring in the attribute itself, it's a what type, right? Let it be type. I don't mind the type is here, right? Value equals to what? Where this has to be stored? This has to be stored in exclamation V dot employee first name. That means every input you define, you should have a corresponding attributes to hold the data. Every input you defined, there should be corresponding attributes to hold the data. There should be corresponding attribute to hold the data. Whatever I define here, there should be corresponding attribute to hold the data. There should be a corresponding attribute to hold the data. There should be a corresponding attribute to hold the data, right? there should be corresponding attribute to hold the data. Clear now? Here I can say default. Default equals to what? RAVI. RAVI. Control S. I go here. Click on update. Right? See, the page loads with a default data called Ravi. Page loads with a default data called Ravi. I can remove it. I can take it to Rupam. So remember that input is not a holder. Input is just a structure to input a data. After the data is input, or you want to hold the data somewhere, we use what? We use Aura attribute. We use what? Sorry, excuse me. We use what? We use Aura attribute. Aura attribute. Right? Understood? If not, then wait. I will club everything and now you'll understand. I'm closing everything. File, new, lightning component. LC 1405 example 3. What is this? I will say, right, calculator. Calculator. We are doing a calculator. Control C. Right? I'm example 3. I'm creating a calculator. Wait, after this, I will, all your doubts will be automatically cleared. First, I want to have two values. Aura, always declare the attribute first. Aura attribute. Aura attribute. Name equals to what? A value. Type equals to what? Integer. Type equals to integer. Next, to hold the A value. Next, 3 attributes. To hold the B value. To hold the result. No problem. You can use caps also because that's a name. There are 3 attributes I have declared first. Now I will use a lightning card. Lightning card. What is this? Right? Title. Title equals to what? Calculator. Right? You want the icon name? Icon name equals to what? Right? Standard account. Standard ACCOUNT. I'm just taking the one standard account. If you go to the standard account icon, right? You can change the icon later as you wish. Inside this, I will say Aura set. Aura set. Attribute equals to actions. Attribute equals to actions. Inside this, lightning button group. Inside this, right? Lightning button label add, right? On click call what? C dot add me. C dot add me. One button. Control C, Control V, Control V. I will say subtract. Second button. Third button. Multiply. Right? I will say C dot sub me. C dot sub me. C dot mul me. Multiply me. These are the three buttons. Outside the Aura set, I will use what? Lightning input. Lightning input. Label. Label equals to enter the first number. Whatever the number you enter, it goes where? To value. Value equals to the holder. Exclamation v dot eval. V dot eval. Right. Next, Control C. Control V. Right. Control V. Right. Enter the second number. Second number. It should go to what? Bval. Right. Whatever the number that you enter will be held by this attribute called as b value. Whatever you enter in the first number will be held by an attribute called as a value. Finally, the result. Let's put the result also. We will talk about output because we don't have a time to learn output. So let's take input itself. I'm once again copying it. Right? Input field. Let it be input only, okay? For as of now. The result. We can set it to read only property, but we will see all this later. Right? Result. Done. Control S. Done. Control S. Now, whenever you click this button, add me, it has to call a controller function. I go to the controller. I say add me. I push this bracket down. There are three buttons, three functions. Comma. Comma. First one was add me. Second one was sub me. Copy the sub me. Put the name as sub me. Third one was mul me. Copy the mul me. Put it here as mul me. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Right? Control S. Control S. Right? First, let us see how the structure is visible on the page. File, new, lightning application. Guys, everyone able to understand what I'm doing? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Anyone who feels that they are not able to understand? Rupam, you're writing some rocket science there. I don't understand that Greek, French, Latin. Call it out. Don't keep quiet. Remember that you're not here for what I'm teaching. You're here for what you're learning. Right? Right? I'm calling the example 3 calculator. Click here. Yes. Go ahead. This is how the structure looks. Enter the first number, enter the second number, and the result. Add, subtract, multiply, because it's a button group. It's a button group. You can add a button icon also, plus, minus, whatever you have to do, right? Now, what I have to do? I have to write a controller. Whatever the data is there, where is the data now? In the attribute. I have to call the data from the component to the controller. Whenever I want to call a value, I will declare a variable var a equals to component.get. We have learned component.set. Now I'm saying component.get. Bring in component.get. Get what? Component.get. Component.get. Get what? Get v dot. That's correct. God, it's simple. V dot. Get a value.
There is a
Whatever.
spelling mistake in component.
COM, right? COM component dot get. Now there are two values are there I have to bring in. Two values. B equals to pval. Get will bring the data from component to controller. Remember that it's not automatic. Both are separate. Even though they are within the bundle, but they are all individual. Component is working individual, controllers are working individual, right? On the component, you have to define that data is stored here. On the component, you have to define that call add me. Whenever the add me is called, you have to say now all the data is stored here. This is the line number 1, 2, 3 is holding the data. You have entered A value equals to 10, B value equals to 20, right? Enter the first number 10, enter the second number 20, because you see that A val is here. It's linking. The data is stored in the attribute. From the attribute, I have to take the data inside the controller. Now, what I will do?
Eval case sensitive.
Yes, 100% it's case sensitive. Be careful. That is the reason always copy from here, even though you know that everything is fine, but still copy like this. It's a case sensitive. Now, that's good. Now, I will declare one more. Where our result equals to what? Equals to A plus B. A plus B. Now, I have to send the result back to the page. I have to send the result. So component.set. 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 What is this? V dot, whatever the field that you created here, result, right? Comma, what is the value? R. Done. 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 But don't worry, you will get a weird answer now sometimes, right? Control S. We brought the data in by using component.get. We send the data out using component.set. To where? To this attribute only. This attribute is controlling the value that to be displayed on the input. This eval is been controlled by the attribute, right? So control S. Similarly, control C, control V. Minus. Similarly, right? Control C, control V. Oh, here it is a multiplication. That's it. Control S. All the three functions I have written. By the way, you can see that Rupam, you are calling A and B every time. Can you see a common program? These are the common program. Rather than writing it every time, why can't I write a helper? Now you're able to understand the use of helper. This is just a very low level use. Every time I'm calling the value of A and B in all the three functions, all the three buttons, I'm first calling the A and B. Why can't I write every time this total 6 lines wasted? 2, here also 2 lines, 4 plus 2, 6 wasted. Why can't I write a helper and let the helper do that common line program work, and I'll just call the helper. I will save 3 lines, right? Got the use? So anyhow, we will see it later because we don't have a time today.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, line 22 semicolon missing.
Oh, if anything is missing, it'll give an error. Remember this very well. Right? Line number 22 semicolon is missing. Okay, that's good. Control S. Yes, tell me.
I think you have taken var a equal to a plus b, right? I think the two values are concatenated, but there is no addition.
Right. That's okay. Wait. I know that. I told you, no, you'll get a weird answer, weird result. So 10, right? 5. I click on add, I get 105, concatenating it. I click on subtract works. 10 minus 5 is 5. I click on multiply, 10 into 5, 50. Only in the subtraction, only in the addition, I'm getting an issue. Only in that addition, I'm getting an issue. How to handle it? Use parseInt. Oh, sorry. Go to your program, right? Controller. You can say parseInt. You can go ahead. You can say parse parse as integer, parse int, parse int of a plus, right? Parse int of b, parse, use parse integer. Parse int of a, I'm parsing it as an integer. Parse int of a, it works, right? Actually do it for everywhere. Here also put the parse it, safer side. Even though it will working, no issues, but we want to convert, it's not a text, it's an integer, right? Control S. Next time when you go ahead and you refresh, right, you enter a number 50, 30, add 80, subtract 20, multiply 1500. See, we created a simple calculator. We created a simple calculator. Using what? Using an Aura attribute. The attribute is connected to input, right? So all the input is linked to hold the data using attribute. Then we are taking the data inside the controller using component.get. Using component.get, we are taking the value inside. We are performing the logic, and then we are sending the data back to the component using component.set. Component.set. Using component.set. Right? Using component.set. Clear now? Yes. Understood? Yes. Anybody has any questions? Right? See, suddenly you saw how your class started changing from yesterday to today, right? Because those were, right, introduction classes, right? Now you see that you started today, you are little comfortable in writing component, and you're also comfortable in writing a controller, basic controller. There are so many things in the controller we'll do now, right? This is just the basic. We know how to get the data in. We know how to send the data out using component.set. To bring the data in, component.get, component.set. Right? Understood? Yes or no?
Sir, in input type, sir, in input type, we're calling the types. Is there any dictionary for that?
Yeah. There's a common dictionary, I told you, no? Right? Go to Google. I told you, I'm teaching everything from, whatever I'm taking, it's from there only. Right? These are not created by me. Right? LIGHT, Lightning Component Reference Library. Type this. Go to Salesforce component. Right? Lightning component. It will be there in the course material, but also under Lightning, what I'm taking input. Scroll down, input. Right? Under the specification, you see that date, time, field, max, minimum, right? You have so many things under specifications. You will see type, 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 right? Type, list of types. Where is the list of types? Right? What are the list of types available? Right? You can all find in the documentation. Right? See, date, color, date and time, right? Email, file, number. Whenever it's integer, I forgot that in between. I've taken text, I have not taken number. Number, it's not integer, it's number, right? Number, right? Password, range, search, tell, right? To input a telephone number. Text, time, see, toggle, URL, right? You have lot of things. We'll do this error messages and everything. We'll do a toast message, shoot message, right? Different types of things we'll do. I'm taking from here. Complete documentation is available. Complete documentation is available. Type equals to checkbox. See that? type equal to checkbox. One checkbox will come. Automatically the field will change to checkbox. Checkbox. Right? Checkbox. Clear now? Yes, from where I'm taking, what I'm taking. Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Anybody has any questions before I start giving you the homework? Anybody has any questions? Yes or
Just
no?
one.
Yes, tell me.
It might sound silly, but the
That's
namespaces
okay.
that we're using here are Aura and Lightning, right? So do we
That's
have
correct.
any rules as to where do we use the Aura tags and where do we use the Lightning ones? Because I do understand the difference where we are using the Lightning component in the component side for writing the controller for
In
controlling
Aura, there
certain.
is nothing called input. In Aura, there is nothing called input. Inputs are within C. Inside the Aura, we have lightning. Inside the
Okay.
Aura, we have lightning. Right? So there is nothing called Aura input. It's only lightning input. There is nothing called Aura card. Right? Aura.
Okay.
Aura is to change the structure. Whenever I'm using Aura set, Aura attribute, they are at the top level. Right? They are at the
Okay.
top level. So as we go inside, you'll be able to understand where what it is, right? Don't worry, this is just the third or fourth class, okay? Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Interest calculator. Simple one I'm giving you guys, right? Right? The boxes will be at the bottom, I know that, right? But I'm just giving in the side by side, okay? So I want you to do this homework today. Interest calculator. Bank interest calculator, right? I want the button to be at the footer, not in the header now. Simple interest, SI. One more button called as compound interest. Right, CI. I enter the amount 1000, rate 10, term 1 year, simple interest equals to PTR by 100. So which is equals to nothing but if I put 1 lakh, 10% is 10,000. Interest accumulated at the end of the term is 10,000. Total maturity amount is 1 lakh plus 10,000. These are input, input, input. These two, these two are output. Right? The last two are your results. Input, input, input. Output, output. Buttons to be here. Can you all do this? Yes. 2 buttons. One more button called clear. Clear button. Clear. 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 Yes. How many of you are confident they can do this?
Yes, you can do that.
Which email ID we have to send this homework?
You have to send it to rupam.sfdc80. rupam.sfdc80. Number 80, 80. I will type it. Wait. Let me first save this homework for you. Right. By the way, by end of today, you should be able to, in another 2-3 hours, you should be able to access this login. Those who are confirmed, they can access the login. That is the reason they're taking your email address. LT96. LT96 is already available. What happened? Okay, no. Next, HW1. I will post in the chatter. You have to send your homework to, right? Our upmrupam.sftc80@gmail.com. 80th, right? The email that I created for the 80th batch. So you can send it to me in the email address. Right? Able to understand, guys? Everything is going good. Everybody is able to understand whatever I'm teaching here. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Anybody in the
Yes,
class who feels that you're not able to understand something? I'm teaching Greek, French, Latin. No, right? Everybody is able to understand what I'm doing, why I'm doing, and what things are happening here. That's it for today. Let's meet tomorrow at the same time. So till then, have a nice and wonderful day. Right? Same link continues tomorrow. Right? Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye.